Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to expertise in logistics and overall leadership and management of very complex projects and organizations, few people are better qualified than Lieutenant General Gus Pagonis. A retired three-star U.S. Army General, Lieutenant General Pagonis is widely recognized for his logistical achievements, particularly during desert, field, and desert storm. After successfully masterminding logistics for the Gulf War and winning high praise from General Norman Wolkoff, Lieutenant Pagonis left the Army in 1993 and was elected Executive Vice President of Logistics for Sears, River and Company. Gus has proven himself as a leader within the United States Army, was the chief logistician during the Gulf War. And today, in the corporate world, he continues to set new standards for leadership. General Pagonis, he gave us a great pleasure to present our compatriot, Lieutenant General William Pagonis, with the Homeric Award.
The only thing standing between you and dinner is me, so I'll try to keep my comments short. I do have to clarify a few things. I still work about 60 hours a week, which is down from 90, so I'm sort of semi-retired. But I handle my own schedule, and I thought this event was next week. I told my wife, she was really excited about coming. She met many of the ladies in Calamino where we were there. And I had to tell her about 2 weeks ago, I think I gave you the wrong date. She knew I would not retire, so she actually started a horse ranch. Knew nothing about horses, grabbed some books together, and she has some big events this weekend, and that's why she couldn't be here. If she was here, she would tell me, don't believe the books, and then all the comments, and she keeps me very humble. Now, I did have 15,000 female soldiers in the Gulf War, so when they were talking about just men, and you may not have noticed in the picture when I got promoted, the gentleman standing to my right, taller guy, was my son. I was a captain. And General found out when he was in the theater, and I hadn't seen him, and he flew him in to be part of the promotion ceremony. Typically, notice he told General Schwarzkopf he was really too busy and didn't think he could make it because he was the commander of the unit. And they were very busy, and Schwarzkopf told him, no, you better come up. I must tell you, this award could go to so many other people that deserve it more than I do. So I'm going to really dedicate it to my father. My dad and mom, my dad's from Chios, and I told everybody upstairs, I think I was 10 years old before I realized everybody from Greece was not from Chios. My mother was from Chios, my dad was from Chios, my uncles were from Chios, the priest was from Chios. All the bartenders in our hotel restaurant from Chios, all the waitresses were from Chios, my babysitter was from Chios. You know, finally I saw the light and I said, geez, I thought Chios was Greece, but then I learned, no, it's an island that has a great heritage and a great history. Now, my dad had an interesting story. I didn't find this out until 1991 when I was in Chios. I was looking out over the ocean at the harbor, the beautiful harbor there. And my elderly aunt came up to me and said, you know how your dad came to the United States? I said, no, he never told me. She said, well, he was 15 years old from a family of 12, wanted to come to the United States and get money to send home, but had no money for the passage. So he swam out to the ship, climbed up the anchor, took enough food and water, and he got in a lifeboat. Because he knew after so many days the ship wouldn't turn around and come back. So he hid himself in the lifeboat, The captain found him. They had him work on the ship. When he got to Ellis Island, he got to New York, they had planned to bring him back. So he jumped off the ship. How he got through Ellis Island is beyond me. But he did, because I was there once. I saw his name on the records. How, didn't speak English at all, had no money. How he got from New York to Pittsburgh is amazing. And he was 15 years old. My dad was a very proud individual of being a Greek American, and he instilled that in me. But he also kept me very strict. He was my greatest mentor. He taught me attention to detail, and he made sure to stay humble. I remember after Vietnam, I was a captain in my first tour, and not to boast, but I had won the Silver Star, Bronze Star for Valor, and the Legion of Merit, which is normally given to colonels. I won as a captain. So I was pretty much full of it and walked into my dad's bar at night. My mother said, your dad wants to talk to you. I went over, after he hugged me and everything, he said, you know, the janitor didn't show up and you worked tonight. My wife was shocked. There I was in my uniform with all my ribbons. And my dad said, I need some help. So there I was cleaning the bar, and it wasn't the best bar in town. And he said, I want you to clean the bathroom. So I remember cleaning the bathroom, and he walked in and grabbed my hand and said, you missed this, you missed that. And I kept thinking, hey, I'm a captain of the United States Army. He said, no, you're not, you're my son, and I need you to be over here. Then I made a huge mistake. I had 2 jobs. I was working at a hardware store, I was working as a lifeguard, and I had a rock and roll band that I played in. And my dad insisted I'd be at the bar every night at 2:30 to help clean up. So one day I went to my mother and I said, who really was the power behind the throne in our family, I went to my mother and I said, you know, I ought to get paid for working. She said, go talk to your father. So I went up to my dad and I said, you know, Dad, I'm here 4 or 5 hours every night. I ought to get paid something. He said, sure. Yeah, let's sit down, let's work this out. Now, here's the rent you owe me. Here's the food you owe me. And by the time he got done, I owed him so much money, I said, forget it. I'll just go work for nothing. He was very, very instrumental in my life, in my training, to always pay attention to detail. I was very fortunate. I remember when I was a major, I was a major for 4 years. I joined the Army, and for some miraculous reason, they decided to promote me. And normally it takes 15 years to become a major. And then I became a general officer in 20 years, and even General Powell made it in 21. I always kid him about that. And my dad would only say to me, when are you going to get out and get a good job? And I was supposed to go into shipping, and my cousin's ship went under, and they claimed bankruptcy, so I said, I better stay in the Army. This is a wonderful award. It's a great community. But I must tell you, the Greek heritage that I am very fortunate to have from my father and mother is something I instilled in me and in my own sons. One is a colonel right now, just got back from Afghanistan, and the other son runs a restaurant of all things in Cranberry, Pennsylvania, which is north of Pittsburgh. But I will tell you one final thing. We have all kinds of problems in this country. I never used the word trillion. I never heard the word trillion until about 2 years ago. And I ran pretty big budgets when I was in the Pentagon. And we have our problems, and we have our dissenters, we have our protesters. But I must tell you, there's still thousands and thousands of people trying to get into the United States, and I don't know if anybody's trying to leave. So this is a great country, and the greatness comes from our youth. And our youth will always be our future. Thank you very much for this award. I appreciate it very much.